Avery, you'll stand in the back at the wedding photos, won't you? My mother Diane's voice came out so naturally at that chic restaurant table in Seattle. Like she was talking about the weather. People will be uncomfortable if they ask questions. You understand, right, sweetheart? My name is Avery Mitchell. I am 23 years old. I was born with albinism because of my white hair, pale skin, and light, sensitive eyes. My family has treated me for 23 years like I am some kind of secret, a source of shame, a truth that needs to be hidden. The moment I sat at that restaurant table was seconds before my mother asked me for $15,000 for my sister Madison's wedding. $15,000. But I have to stand in the back rows. $15,000. But I can't be in family photos. $15,000, but only if I agree to be invisible. Sitting at the table were my mother, my stepfather Trevor, my sister Madison, and my brother Tyler. They were all laughing, talking about Madison's fiancé, the wedding cake, honeymoon plans. Not once did they say, "Avery, what do you think?" Because my thoughts didn't matter. I had only come to pay. That is what I had always been to them. An invisible credit card, a silent bank account. My mother continued, playing with her napkin. The wedding has been really expensive. Trevor's business is a bit slow. We want to make Madison's dreams come true. You are part of the family. We expect you to contribute. Part of the family. How funny. If I were part of the family, maybe I'd be in the family photos on Instagram. Maybe I would have been included in Madison's top 3 people post. Maybe my mother wouldn't lower her voice when introducing me. But no, I was just the invisible one who paid the bills. $15,000, I said slowly. That is a lot of money. Madison immediately jumped in, her eyes sparkling. But I am your sister. Avery, this is the most important day of my life. Can't you make a sacrifice for me just once? Sacrifice. That word made me laugh. Because sacrifice wasn't something new to me. Sacrifice was working part-time jobs during high school to pay the family's electric bills. Sacrifice was me living with a cheap roommate while Madison got a nice apartment in college. Sacrifice was me taking the bus while Tyler got a car. Sacrifice was accepting to stay in the shadows at every Christmas, every birthday, every family gathering. I'll think about it, I said, putting down my fork. Something inside me was breaking. The conversation continued throughout the meal. But I wasn't there anymore. I was doing calculations in my head. How many years had I been contributing to the family bank account? How many times had my mother used my credit card for emergencies? How many times had I covered Trevor's debts? As we left the restaurant, my mother touched my arm. Avery, you know we love you. But Madison's day is special. People you understand. We feel uncomfortable when they ask questions. That is when everything became clear. They didn't love me, they were using me. And for 23 years, I had accepted being used. But tonight, something changed inside me. I would no longer accept staying in the shadows. I would no longer accept being invisible. And most importantly, I would no longer accept being their emergency fund. If they cut me out of family photos, I could cut them out of my life, and that cut would create a financial devastation they couldn't even imagine. The discrimination didn't start at any single moment. It formed slowly, with small moments accumulating over time. When I was born, my parents were divorcing. My father moved to Portland, while my mother stayed in Seattle. A few years later, my mother married Trevor, a real estate agent, always chasing the big deal, but never succeeding. Madison and Tyler were my mother and Trevor's children together. Both were perfect. Looking, Madison had shiny brown hair. Tyler had sun-tanned skin. I was always different. My white hair, very pale skin, sensitive eyes that required sunglasses. In elementary school, kids called me Ghost. At home, my family never directly put me down. But humiliation isn't always in words. Sometimes it is hidden in the light is bad. Avery, don't be in this one when taking photos. Sometimes it is Avery is tired. Let her rest upstairs during relative visits. In high school, Madison was one of the most popular girls, cheerleader, student council, bright social life. I spent time in quiet corners. In the computer lab, I had started learning graphic design. Getting lost in the digital world was my only escape. During those years, my mother would often say, "Avery, you are not social anyway. You are more comfortable at home." As if it were my choice. When I turned 18, Madison was studying at a luxury college. Trevor and my mother had rented a nice apartment for her. I was enrolled at a community college in Portland, staying in a cheap dorm. "Avery, you can work online. It is more suitable for you," my mother had said. Working online was more suitable for them, not for me, because when I was invisible, I caused fewer problems. When I turned 20, I started working as a freelance graphic designer. At first, small jobs, logos, social media posts. But over time, bigger clients came, tech companies, startups, agencies. I started making good money, and it didn't take long for my mother to notice. "Avery, can you help? The electricity bill was high this month." "Avery, Trevor's car needs repairs." "Avery, Madison has student loans. Can you contribute?" Every time, I said, "Sure, Mom, no problem." Because maybe one day they would see me, but that day never came. And when Madison's wedding plans started, everything became clear. Madison's wedding was being planned as the event of the year, at least according to my mother's Instagram. Her fiancé Brian was a software engineer at Microsoft. He seemed like a good guy, but I never understood their relationship. While Madison chased show and status, Brian was quiet and introverted. When preparations began, I was asked to come to Seattle every week. There were family meetings, but at these meetings, I always sat in a corner. At cake tasting, invitation selection, flower arrangements, my opinion was never asked. "Avery, you are good at creative stuff, but these are Madison's preferences," they'd say, dismissing me. One day, my mother invited me to Madison's dress fitting. The boutique was in a wealthy Seattle neighborhood. As Madison twirled in a white wedding dress, Trevor took photos. My mother was crying. Tyler played with his phone. I sat in a chair watching. "Family photo time," the boutique owner shouted. Everyone gathered around Madison. My mother, Trevor, Tyler. I got up, but my mother raised her hand. "Avery, can you sit this one out? Let's just take it with Madison and us." I froze. Just Madison and us. I wasn't included. "But I am family too," I said, my voice trembling. My mother smiled. That fake, polite smile. "Of course, sweetheart, but this is Madison's special moment. We'll take one with you later." Latter never happened. When we left the boutique, my mother and Madison continued shopping. I sat alone in the car. That day, I looked at myself in the mirror. My white hair, pale skin, tired eyes behind sunglasses. What did I do? Why am I always the invisible one? Before continuing my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from right now? Have you ever been ignored just because of your appearance? Even though you were the smartest person in the room? Share with me in the comments, because sometimes the strongest voices come from the quietest ones. Don't forget to subscribe. As the wedding date approached, financial demands increased. First flowers, then catering, then the DJ. Each time, I was told, "Avery, you are doing this for the family." And each time, I accepted. Because inside me there was still hope. Maybe they'd see me, appreciate me. But that Seattle restaurant meeting killed my hope completely. Asking for $15,000 wasn't enough. Telling me to stand in the back rows, to not be in photos, that was the final straw. That night when I returned to Portland, my roommate Harper met me. Harper had been my closest friend since university. She was the only person who truly saw me, understood me, supported me. "How did it go?" she asked, teacup in hand. I told her everything. The restaurant, the $15,000, the back row request. Harper's face reddened. "Avery, how long will you let this family use you?" she shouted. "You are not their ATM." "I know," I said quietly, "but they're my family." Harper put her hand on my shoulder. "Family means people who love you, not people who use you and push you aside." How much money have you given them? I thought. Electric bills, car repairs, rent payments, Madison's student loans, Tyler's computer, my mother's shopping, maybe around $40,000, maybe more. Harper looked shocked. $40,000, and what did they give you in return? Nothing. They even cut you out of family photos. At that moment, I realized something had to change. Harper opened her computer. "Look, I think you need to talk to a consultant. Check your accounts. See how dependent they are on you, and then, make them pay." Make them pay. That word echoed in my ears. For years I had been paying. Maybe now it was their turn. The next morning, I made an appointment with a financial consultant in Portland. Her name was Nicole Grant, professional, stern, but understanding. I told her my entire financial situation. I showed her my credit cards, the transfers to family accounts. The next morning, I made an appointment with a financial consultant in Portland. Her name was Nicole Grant, professional, stern, but understanding. I told her my entire financial situation. I showed her my credit cards and the transfers to family accounts. Nicole frowned as she examined the documents. "Avery, on some accounts your name appears as a joint account holder. This means they can affect your credit score. Also, automatic payments are being deducted from your account. Electricity, internet, even Trevor's car insurance, all coming from your account." I was shocked. I was not just contributing. I was financing their entire lives. Nicole continued, "If you want, you can stop these automatic payments. You can remove yourself from joint accounts. You can regain your financial independence. But then what happens? What will they do?" Nicole shrugged. "That is their problem, not yours. You are an adult woman, Avery. You have the right to live your own life." From that day on, I made a plan, quietly, step by step. I began to remove my family from my financial life. And before they noticed, it would be too late. Nicole was very clear as she explained each step. "This is legal and legitimate. You are an adult, nobody can use your money without your permission. If they are accessing your accounts, it is because of permissions you previously gave. Now you are withdrawing those permissions." "But they will be very angry," I said, my voice trembling. "Of course they will be angry," Nicole said coldly, "because they will not have a free cash machine anymore. But Avery, your emotional health and financial future are more important than their comfort." That night, in my small studio apartment, I sat with Harper. My bank accounts were open on the computer screen. The first step was to remove myself from joint accounts. There were 2 accounts jointly held with my mother. One had been opened years ago as an emergency fund. In reality, it had become my mother's personal shopping fund. "Are you ready?" Harper asked. I took a deep breath. "I am ready." I clicked. I sent the request to withdraw from joint account ownership. The system said the process would be completed within 48 hours. In 2 days, my mother would not have access. Then, I moved on to automatic payments. Electric bill, Trevor and Diane's house electricity had been automatically deducted from my account for 3 years. Cancel. Internet bill. Their house, cancel. Car insurance. Trevor's luxury SUV, cancel. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify family plan, even Madison's gym membership, all on my card. I canceled them all. With each click, something inside me was unraveling. The anger, disappointment, and pain that had been building for years, all of it flowing toward the screen. Harper sat quietly beside me, sometimes squeezing my shoulder, sometimes just being there. The last step was the credit card, the emergency card the family used. Last month, Madison had bought an $800 dress with it. Last week, Trevor bought a $1,200 golf set. He said it was necessary for meeting clients. I had paid. Now, I was pressing the button to cancel that card. "Are you sure?" the system asked. "I am sure," I said out loud, and I pressed it. Harper raised her hands in the air. "That is it. Avery Mitchell took back her life." But I did not feel anything yet. There was only emptiness, and maybe a little fear. What would they do when they found out? The first explosion came 2 days later. Tuesday morning, my phone started ringing. My mother was calling. I did not answer. A message came. "Avery, call me urgently." I ignored it. I continued with my work. I was working on a logo design for a client. I tried to focus on the colors, but the phone kept ringing. Then a message came from Trevor. "Avery, there is a serious problem. Call your mother immediately." I ignored it again. In the afternoon, a voice message came from Madison. She was crying. Avery, what did you do? Mom is crying. The electricity has been cut off at home. Trevor's card is not working. The wedding is in a month. Please call us. That is when I smiled for the first time. The electricity had been cut off. The automatic payment really had stopped. The plan was working. In the evening, I missed 14 calls from my mother. I finally answered. I thought I was ready to hear her voice, but I was not. Avery. My mother's voice was almost a scream. What did you do? The electricity is cut off. There is no internet. Trevor's insurance is canceled. What did you do? I tried to stay calm. Hello, Mother. How are you? How am I? The house has no electricity. Avery, we are in the dark. What did you do with the accounts? I just made some changes regarding my own financial situation, I said quietly. I am managing my own bills myself now, but our electricity. Your electricity, I said carefully, is your responsibility, not mine. There was silence on the phone. Then, in a lower voice, Avery, this is very childish. We are family. We help each other. Help. My voice rose. Mother, for 23 years I have been helping you. I was paying your electric bill, your internet bill, Trevor's insurance, Madison's gym membership. And what did I get in return? I was cut out of family photos. I was told to stand in the back rows at the wedding. $15,000 was requested from me, but on the condition that I do not appear in photos. Avery, this. No, Mother. This is my decision now. I am living my own life. I am paying my own bills, and your bills you pay them. But the electric company is bringing a disconnection notice tomorrow. What are we going to do? I do not know. Mother, maybe Trevor will find a job. Maybe Madison will return her graduation dress. Maybe you will make a budget. But this is not my problem anymore. I hung up the phone. My hands were shaking. My heart was beating fast. But at the same time, I felt a strange lightness, as if I had put down a heavy burden I had been carrying for years. Harper came from the kitchen, 2 cups of tea in her hands. Are you okay? I do not know, I said honestly, but I think so. The following days were full of chaos. My mother was texting every hour. Trevor was having meetings with the bank, but their own income was not enough for credit. Madison was constantly crying because the wedding expenses were not being paid. Tyler was silent. He never messaged me even once. A week later, Madison called me. This time she was not crying. Her voice was cold. Avery, the wedding might be canceled. The organization company canceled the reservation because the down payment was not made. This is your fault. My fault. I laughed in astonishment. Madison, I did not cancel the wedding. I just stopped being your personal cash machine. But you are family. You need to make sacrifices for your family. Sacrifice. Do you know how much sacrifice I have made? $40,000? Madison, maybe more. Electricity, internet, your gym membership, Tyler's computer, Trevor's insurance, Mother's shopping. I paid for everything, and what did I get in return? I was cut out of family photos. Madison hesitated. This is different. You should be understanding. You were always stronger. No, Madison. I was more invisible. Because you chose not to see me. But I am not accepting that anymore. Finance your own wedding yourself. Live your own life yourself. I am not your resource anymore. I hung up the phone, and this time, I felt nothing. No guilt, no sadness, just peace. As the wedding date approached, the dramas increased. My mother started targeting me indirectly on social media. She was making posts like, "Some people do not know how to be family." Her friends were commenting, asking who is this ungrateful child. But I remained silent, because I knew that the truth would eventually come out. 3 days before the wedding, Madison called me again. This time she was begging, "Avery, please, just for the wedding. Just this one day, please help. Otherwise, what will Brian's family think?" "Brian's family will see who you really are," I said calmly. "Maybe this will be a good lesson for them." "You are ruining me." "No, Madison, you ruined yourself. For years you took money from me, ignored me, and cut me out of family photos. Now you are experiencing the consequences." The phone hung up, and for the first time in my life, I felt truly free. The wedding day came. Of course I was not invited. Actually, I was invited, but since I was asked to stand in the back rows, I had decided not to go. Harper offered to stay home with me. We watched movies and ordered pizza. It was like a normal Saturday. Around 7 in the evening, my phone started ringing. Calls were coming from my mother, Trevor, Madison, even relatives. I did not answer any of them, but it was impossible not to be curious. What was happening? Then, a message came from Karen. Diane's cousin Avery, I hope you are happy. The wedding was cancelled. Madison is crying. Diane is devastated. I hope this was worth it to you. Cancelled. The wedding had been cancelled. Another message came with a photo. Madison in her wedding dress, crying. There were only a few people at the venue. The decorations seemed half done. A complete disaster. Harper looked over my shoulder. Wow, it really happened. Yes, I said quietly. It really happened. The next day, my mother called me. This time she was not yelling. There was only exhaustion in her voice. Avery, we need to talk. I am listening. The wedding was terrible. The organization company did not take the last-minute money. There were only close family at the venue. Madison is devastated. Brian's family was very angry. Everything is your fault. Not my fault, Mother, I said calmly. Your fault. For years you used me. For years you ignored me. Now you are experiencing the consequences. But we love you. No, Mother. You did not love me. You used me. Love is not leaving someone in the shadows. Love is not cutting someone out of family photos. Love is not telling someone to stand in the back row. There was silence. Then, my mother spoke slowly. What do you want us to do? Nothing. Just leave me alone. Live your own life. I will live my own life. But you are still part of our family. Maybe one day, I said. But not now. Now. I just want to be Avery, not invisible Avery, not cash machine Avery, just Avery. I hung up the phone, and this time it was definitely the last time. Months passed. Madison's wedding was held with a small ceremony in a Seattle park. Brian's family helped with the budget. My mother and Trevor continued to struggle financially. They downsized their house. Their luxury lifestyle ended. Social media posts stopped. The perfect family image collapsed. I, on the other hand, continued my life in Portland. My freelance work grew. Bigger clients, more money, and more freedom. I was living my own life, and most importantly, nobody was telling me to stand in the back row. One day, Tyler messaged me. Hey Avery, I just wanted to apologize. I did not understand back then, but I understand now. We wronged you. I hope you will forgive me one day. I read his message. I wanted to reply, but what could I say? Finally, I just wrote this. Tyler, thank you for your apology, but right now, I just need to focus on my own life. Maybe we will talk one day, but not now. At this point, I want to ask you something. What would you do when the people who should trust you the most, your family, turn their back on you? Would you forgive them and start everything over? Or would you draw your own path and bury them in history? Write to me in the comments. I read each and every one because your stories are as important as mine. Today, I am 24 years old. I have a small but beautiful apartment in Portland. Harper is still my closest friend. My freelance work is going great. I have a social life. I have friends. And most importantly, I am not living in anyone's shadow anymore. Sometimes, I see my mother's phone number on the screen. I do not answer. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day, if they truly apologize, if they truly change, maybe then I will forgive. But right now, I am just living my own life. Because I learned that family is not always blood ties. Family is people who accept you as you are. People who love you, support you, and do not make you invisible. Harper is my real family. Nicole is my real family. The clients who love me, the friends who support me, they are my real family. And albinism, it is not a flaw anymore. It is not a source of shame anymore. It is just a part of me. My white hair, pale skin, and sensitive eyes. These are the things that make me who I am. And I am not ashamed of them anymore. If you are in a similar situation, if you are being used by your family or ignored, I want to tell you something. Protecting yourself is not selfishness. Saying no is not wickedness. Living your own life is not a crime. For 23 years, I was invisible, but not anymore. Now I am Avery Mitchell, and finally, I am being seen by myself. And that is enough. Mother cut me out of family photos. I cut them out of my life. And you know what? My life had never been this bright.